Okay, so we're talking about prevention of corrosion. So corrosion happens because metal is exposed to the atmosphere. So what is one way of avoiding that from happening? Like, what is one way of making sure that doesn't happen?
Ma'am,
Alloy.
coating the super
Avoid
layer.
painting.
Awesome, correct. So painting is one. What else? Coating, someone was saying, coating it with
Ma'am, alloy. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, coating it with oil. It's basically oiling and or
oiling. Yes,
galvanizing.
nice. Oiling or greasing is another. Okay. These kind of things, how are they preventing from corrosion? What is
Ma'am,
the
they're
They come and layer
covering the
over
Away
the
superficial.
yes.
metal
So
so that water doesn't come in
literally-
contact.
Yes, so they literally form a barrier between the metal and atmosphere. Okay. So yeah, so you have the metal surface and then you put paint over it. So the metal and there is air over here, they can't interact because beech mein oil aa gaya, beech mein paint aa gaya. So that is one way of preventing corrosion. So this is what is done, like this is the cheapest way of doing corrosion when the stakes are low. When durability is not really a factor, you can go with this. So this is what you find in your common stuff like doorknobs, like articles like your keychains, things like that.
Cycle chain.
Cycle chain, yes. Okay. Next, someone mentioned galvanization.
Galvanizing.
Galvanizing, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by galvanization?
Coating of zinc.
Ma'am, coating of a metal or another metal, but the second metal doesn't react with the atmosphere as
You're 90% correct. So if we are talking about galvanization, it is specifically coating a metal with zinc. So Puneet got it right. Okay. So when you're coating iron with zinc, it's called galvanization. And this is done to prevent corrosion. So if you use any other metal, like for example, another case is chrome plating. So you can also call it electroplating, where you coat a substance, like you coat like something cheap, like copper or bronze, you give it a gold plating. You got rolled gold stuff, right? Yeah. So depending on which metal you're coating it with, it's got a different name. When you're coating iron with zinc, it's called galvanization. When you're coating with chromium, it's called chrome plating. So this is what is done in cars, like the shiny stuff in cars. Have you guys heard of it? It's called chrome finish.
Yeah.
So chrome finish
Matte,
is,
chrome.
yeah, you're coating it with chromium. Okay, so depending on for different metals, you have different names. But this raises a question. We just saw the reactivity series, right? Between iron and zinc, which is more reactive?
Zinc.
Zinc.
So if zinc is more reactive, all the zinc will just react away with the atmosphere, right? So how is it gonna protect the iron?
Because zinc doesn't react as aggressively with the atmosphere or something.
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch that.
Maybe zinc doesn't react with the atmosphere as aggressively as iron does, but it does react with other substances.
Good point, but atmosphere has like water, it has oxygen. More reactive matlab, like it just reacts. Like atmosphere doesn't have only one thing, right? So we can't say that, oh, zinc doesn't react with this particular thing, so that's why we use it. But atmosphere itself contains like lots of different things: water, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. These are major. Nitrogen barely reacts, so let's not count it. But water and oxygen itself are sufficient. They are like enough reactive to affect it. So how come zinc is protecting iron from it? So the logic behind like how zinc protects iron is that because zinc is more reactive than iron. Like, okay, the oxygen comes, reacts with zinc. Let's say part of it has already reacted. So now there's like a hole in between. Okay, so even though tiny part of iron is still exposed, when the oxygen approaches the zinc or approaches this particular area, because zinc is more reactive, it will preferably react with oxygen, and then because zinc is the one that's reacting, the iron is unaffected. So when oxygen molecule comes here, now either it can react with iron or it can react with zinc. So that way it preferably reacts with zinc and leaves iron alone. So whatever structure the iron is, like if it's a bridge, if it's like any sort of thing that's being used for, iron is left alone as it is. So that is how
Yes.
zinc prevents from corrosion.
Miss, then
Yes.
why not all particles are made up of zinc only?
Then you have to like refresh it with a new coating. Just like if the paint gets chipped off, if the oil is like wiped away, you need to refresh it, right? So yeah.
Miss, all the metals above iron in the reactivity series can be used.
All the metals above iron in the reactive series, what about them, Dhruv?
Like they can be also used to cover or coat iron.
Yeah, it also depends on the interaction between iron and that metal itself, like lots of other factors at play.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to use sodium, potassium and all because the reaction that they undergo also is like extremely violent, right? So that's not going to help anyone if the temperature keeps increasing. And if the reaction is exothermic and the temperature increases to enough degree that it activates the ion below it, that's also not going to help. That defeats the purpose. So considering all of the different factors, not only the fact that they react, but also how they react, what kind of reactions they undergo, and at what rate, zinc is, like the best candidate available in this case. Similarly, chromium also. Another interesting thing to note is that zinc, chromium in the reactivity series, they're all pretty close to iron. They're slightly above iron. They're above iron, but like pretty close to iron. So that's another factor that's like that helps with this whole process.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, chrome plating is the third point, right? Or it is in continuation galvanization?
Put it under galvanization, like all of this. So I've put painting, oiling, greasing because they all form, like they are a physical non-reactive barrier between metal and atmosphere. Galvanization, chrome plating, both of these are cases where you coat a different metal. So if you're
Specific to iron.
yeah, so if you're coating zinc, then it's galvanization. If you're coating chromium, then it's like chrome plating. It's like that. Yeah, Aditya.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask that, I just wanted to ask that all these are not permanent, what we said, prevention for corrosion, right? They will get off after some time.
It's long term. So permanent in the sense they won't last like forever, but they're going to last years. Like it's really, really long term. It's not like, 3 days later you have to change it. It's not like that. They are fairly long term. That's why they are used.
Ma'am, but
You keep
paint-
have to keep,
is not durable, right?
Huh?
Mostly oil greasing and galvanization is not durable, right? Mostly.
this, and then there's one more that method that somebody had mentioned earlier. Which one is it?
Alloys.
Alloying. Absolutely.
Alloys.
Yes. So alloying is another way to prevent corrosion. What is alloying? What do you mean by alloys?
Normally, when one metal is
Mixture of a metal with a
not,
non-metal or a
bonded with
metal with
another
another
metal to
metal.
form a stronger one.
Absolutely. Okay. So it's a physical mixture of a metal with, it can be other metals, some other metals, or it can be non-metals also. Depends again case to case basis. Okay. And alloying,
Ma'am, what's an example of a metal with non-metal?
I'll come to it. So there are 3-4 alloys that we'll talk about. Okay. So the advantage with alloying is it prevents corrosion, and apart from that, it also imparts, like it also adds, it also enhances the metal. Enhances in the sense it makes it stronger. Like metals already have a good tensile
High melting point.
improve it. Yeah, Puneet.
Means high melting and boiling point.
Yeah, it increases like the melting and boiling points of it. So it enhances the metal in other, in its other properties, in other respects also. So that's why this is the most widely used, followed by galvanization. Painting, oiling, greasing is used in like you're not gonna use like a high grade alloy for like something like a cycle chain, because again it's a cost versus how important is it, you're gonna weigh all these options. But yeah, so these methods are like the most commonly used to prevent corrosion. So some common alloys are, what is the most common alloy that you guys use in everyday life?
Steel,
Brass.
Yes.
Brass.
steel,
Steel is there, yes. Brass and bronze, absolutely. So somebody was asking what's an example of metal plus non-metal, right? Steel is an alloy of iron plus carbon. So it's like 95% iron and it's got like 4 or 5% carbon in it. Mix it with carbon, you make steel. Other than steel, you also have something called stainless steel. So again, this is just like steel with some added enhancements. So it's an alloy of iron, carbon, plus other trace metals like you have trace quantities of nickel. Some cases maybe cobalt. Don't know, you'll have to check. But yeah. So you add a little bit of nickel and some other metals, you get stainless steel. Then you guys were talking about brass. What is brass an alloy of?
I guess it's got tin.
Yes, so it's copper plus tin. And you have bronze. Bronze is an alloy of? So it's, again, bronze is also copper. This one is copper plus zinc. Easy to remember. Brass has S, so it's tin. Bronze has Z, it's zinc. And then you have duralumin. Duralumin is used in aircrafts. It's an alloy of aluminium plus, I don't know what you add to aluminium to make it strong, but yeah, it's an alloy of aluminium used mainly in aircrafts. So it is strong yet light. That's what makes it ideal for forming like the body and the wings of aeroplanes. And then you have alnico. This is pretty easy to remember. it is aluminium plus nickel. plus-
Nickel plus cobalt.
Alnico. Straightforward. And then you have something called amalgams. Amalgam is basically mercury plus other metals.
They use it for dentistry, right? To fill up your cavity or something.
That is correct, for filling. Yeah. And amalgam, like the names will differ. Like for example, if you have zinc amalgam, so that's zinc plus mercury. So if you have aluminium amalgam, that's aluminium plus mercury. So whatever metal you mix with mercury, it's basically like that metal's amalgam.
Ma'am, what you
Ma'am, for duramelin, it is aluminium plus copper plus manganese plus magnesium. So told us.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, need to refer to it. Like I don't remember this. Yeah, copper, manganese, magnesium. Right. Any other?
what you in brackets?
Oh, this is aircrafts. Like this is where it's used
No,
for.
I'm here.
This is
After G plus metals.
this is dentistry. I'll just write it properly again.
What is dentistry?
Dentistry is like what dentists do. It's used in tooth fillings. Yeah, mainly as tooth fillings. This particular.
Ma'am, have you mixed up brass and bronze?
Have I?
Ma'am, because in the book, book it shows brass as copper and zinc and not copper and SN. Bronze you have written for brass. And
Oh,
tin I
yes.
think is SN.
Yes,
So,
I'm
you have
sorry. It's the opposite
done
way
it.
then. It's not. Yeah, it's always confusing. Both of them are copper alloys. So it is the opposite then. So jiska Z hai, uska it's the other one, and jiska S hai, uska is the other one. Yeah, corrected, you guys. So brass is copper and zinc. Yeah, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc, and bronze is the alloy of copper and tin. Yeah.
Ma'am, what is the fifth one? Can you pronounce it?
Fifth is duralumin. So think of it as a shortened form of durable aluminum. Duralumin. Duralumin. There are like lots and lots of alloys.
Ma'am, is this used in aircraft like kerosiners? Like oh sorry, stainless. Sorry.
Let me see. Brass, bronze.
Ma'am, CO is
CO is cobalt. Stainless steel is nickel and not cobalt, it's chromium. Cr.
What is Mn?
Mn is manganese. Should I just like write it here? It'll be easier.
Okay.
PC, you guys know. Ni is nickel. Cr is chromium. Zinc, Sn is tin. Mn is manganese. Magnesium, you guys know. Co is cobalt. Hg is mercury. Oh, another one, like pretty important. So this is used in like electrical things. Can I flip the page?
1 minute.
Yes,
ma'am.
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 Okay, note it down. Or can I write it somewhere on the side?
Yeah, ma'am, you can change the page.
You change the page only. Better.
Ma'am, 1 second.
Okay, let me know when you guys are done. Then I'll continue. There's a couple more I just want to discuss. Almost done with this.
Yes.
Okay.
Ma'am, at the end of the lecture, can we play Kahoot this time?
Yeah, let's do it. Yes. Solder. So this is an alloy of lead plus tin. So this is used in what do you call it? Basically, so when you're forming electrical circuits, or when you want to join like two wires together in a circuit, have you guys watched these DIY or life hack kind of videos where they use hot glue and then they cut bottle caps and they attach?
Ma'am, isn't this a very low melting point?
Yes, absolutely. The reason why it like solder is widely used in like these circuits and all of that is because of its low melting point. So just a little bit of heat, like whatever electricity is passing through it, like whatever resistance creates the heat, right? So that heat is enough to melt it. So you melt like little dots of it and then you use it, and you know that's where it comes from, soldering circuits. So
Ma'am, it's not only restricted to electric circuits, right? It's used in construction also.
yeah, possibly, definitely. This is like the most common use that I've seen it, like majority use. Constructions, yeah. And gold is usually alloyed with, what do you usually alloy gold with? No one knows.
Platinum.
Oh, platinum, sure, but
Silver.
there's a practical
Silver.
reason. Silver,
Silver?
yes, but more common than silver. So gold is like really malleable, right? We've seen one of the highest malleabilities for metals like gold and silver and all. It's a really soft metal. So if I were to, make a gold bangle or get any gold amulet or something, it can bend easily, it can get deformed easily, and we don't want that to happen. We want our gold ornaments to look good, right? So to give it a little bit of strength, it is alloyed with copper. Yeah, and of course, like
So is it called anything?
platinum is also used. It's not, I don't think this particular alloy has a specific name because the quantity of copper differs. But in the market, this is where your 24 karat gold, 22 karat gold comes from. So 24 karat.
So 24 karat is like a pure, so like
Yes,
is it easily
this is like
bendable?
100% gold. This is the most pure gold ever. 22 karat is basically, it's like 22 parts gold and 2 parts copper. Yeah, like if you have 24 grams of 22 karat gold, then 22 grams will be gold and 2 grams will be copper. It's like,
Ma'am,
yeah.
so we can say the number of carat decreases, carat of gold decreases, the number of parts of copper is added.
Yes, the quantity, like the fraction of gold carat is an indicator of how pure the gold is. So if this number decreases, then purity of gold is decreasing. You'll have less gold and more copper. 200% is like the most pure.
Ma'am, but with naked eye, we can't much differ, right? What is 22 and 24 karat gold?
No, obviously you can't. So it's more in the strength and things like that. If you to look at, they're gonna look like the same thing, but the cost will get affected. Like if you were to go back and sell the gold or find its value, obviously the like as it contains less gold, the cost also, the value that you get for it also decreases. Iron, okay. Yeah, some common what do you call alloys. So just put it in bracket, or I'll write it properly with copper, silver or platinum are also used. So obviously, if like so gold alloyed with copper would have less cost. If you use silver, it's definitely going to have slightly higher cost. If there's platinum in the mix, then it's gonna be like really expensive. Yeah. So this brings us to the end of the chapter, like the whole theory of the chapter. Let me know when you guys are done, and then we'll go on to the workbook. Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am, writing.
Yeah. Like when you're ready, like when you're done noting down, just go through it, revise. When you're ready for questions, raise your hand, then we'll start.
Done, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, alloys will be basically homogeneous
Yeah, there's
substances,
more
right?
mixtures, yes. Good point. They're also an example of solid in solid solutions. Whoever is done writing,
Ma'am,
silver gets tarnished. Like, what is the reason? Why is silver blackened? Even
Ma'am, it reacts. Ma'am, it reacts with the sulfur in the air, the sulfide in the air,
the
thus forming a black layer.
correct. Yeah. So be careful. Don't mention sulfur. Sulfide is correct. Reacts with hydrogen sulfide.
Ma'am, in the workbook I'm just seeing, it says what types of oxides are formed when non-metals combine with oxygen.
Mhm.
Is it asking for the properties like it's acidic or basic, or
Yeah.
what's
Acidic,
asked?
basic, yeah. When you say type of oxides, that's what they're asking. Only 3 people are ready. Okay, Puneet also said done.
Ma'am, even I'm done.
So put it somewhere, either on the chat or raise your hand. Okay, now people are responding. Okay. So waiting for Ryan, Anirban.
I'm done.
Done, acha.
I told before only.
Amay, Abhishek, Jasmine has pinged on chat. Snehal, Ritvik, Rishita. So 6 of you guys. So Ryan, Amay, Ritvik. 3 of you guys. Once you're ready, let me know. Okay. Yeah. Jasmine, Alina also pinged on chat. Cool. Let's get started with the questions. Theory based, I'm skipping because a lot of them are definitions, like stuff that we have done. Like you'll find the answers directly.
Can you please show the whiteboard for a second?
What happened, Aditya?
Ma'am. No, you ma'am. Done, ma'am. Done. I was just checking if I missed something.
Back to the workbook. I was saying I'm skipping the theory based. You guys write it on your own. You will find the answers directly, like word for word, in your notes or like in the chapter notes or the notes that you have written down. So you should be able to answer it that easily. Give reasons. I just want to show you guys like some types of questions that you've come across. Give reason why sodium metal is stored in kerosene. Deshna.
Because
Deshna.
Which one? The first one, right?
GR1, yeah. So think of it as, why is sodium metal stored in kerosene? Why do we need to put it in kerosene? What do you know about sodium metal, Deshna? Deshna, you're muted in case you're answering.
So basically sodium is highly reactive.
Absolutely. So what
So
happens?
I think kerosene does not react with sodium, and I was muted, oh God, and it acts as a barrier, like so that it doesn't react with oxygen. That's why it's stored in kerosene.
Absolutely. That's perfectly fine. So you can just mention the 2 points. Sodium is highly reactive. Two, if it is not in kerosene, it will react with oxygen and water in the atmosphere, like moisture or water vapor, you can say. And to prevent that reaction, it is stored in kerosene.
ma'am, are we writing this now, or do we have to do it later on?
See, like you can, if you can write fast, you can write it now, or else like I'm just gonna quickly discuss and then let's can do it later. Yeah.
Ma'am, what is metallurgy? The first theory-based question.
Oh, metallurgy is the whole science behind the extraction of metals. So that whole like extraction of metals part is called metallurgy. All of the processes, terms, like everything related to that.
Okay.
The study and the science behind the extraction of metals.
Ma'am, what's the composition of aqua regia?
Raghav, we discussed this yesterday. I put it on the board. Check your notes. If you're not able to find it, I'll ask like anybody else who can answer it.
It is 3 HCl to 1 HNO3.
HNO3 plus HCl.
Yeah, the other way around, Aditya. I'm sorry, you said 3 HCl. Right, you're right, you are correct. I got confused. 3 HCl to 1 HNO3. Don't forget concentrated. Needs to be concentrated HCl and concentrated HNO3. And you can look at GR2, GR5, GR6. All of these are like, we have discussed this when we were doing physical properties of metals. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am, but in second one,
Yes,
they've
ma'am.
already given the physical properties. So what do we have to write?
Oh, you have to give reason why metals are good conductors of electricity.
Because they have a lot of free electrons.
Yes, just mention free electrons and that suffices. Ionic compounds have high melting and boiling points.
Because their bonds are really strong.
What kind of bond do they have?
Electrostatic force.
Electrostatic force.
Mention that term. Yeah. So GR4 is very similar to GR11 and 12. Like the answer is same, but you can see different ways the question is asked. I'll show GR4. So in spite of being highly reactive, aluminium is still used for making utensils. Who will answer this? Aditya Rane?
I don't know the answer.
No? Okay. Rishita had raised her hand. Go ahead.
So ma'am, there aluminium has the layer of aluminium oxide, so because of that, so it forms a layer of aluminium oxide because of which they are used for making utensils even after being highly reactive. And the aluminium oxide layer is a protective layer.
Yes. So you need to mention, yeah, both the points you have mentioned. There's one more aspect to it because it specified utensils. So what other property of aluminium is used in it being a utensil?
Good conductor of heat.
Good conductor of heat.
Heat, yes. Okay. So good conductor of heat, the conductivity, so useful in cooking. And the second is because they mentioned in spite of being highly reactive, right? So because it's reactive, it will form aluminium oxide, which prevents the aluminium from further reacting with the food or the atmosphere, which protects the aluminium and hence can be made into utensils.
Ma'am, can you repeat the answer for 3GR, the third one, the third reason?
Ionic compounds. Oh, they have high melting and boiling points because the particles are held tightly by electrostatic forces of attraction, which is a strong force, so which can't be broken easily. So that's why,
Okay.
yeah. So solids, if you want to melt them, the intermolecular bonds need to be broken, right? Like when solids turn into liquids. Electrostatic forces are strong, so it's not easy to. 3GR7 also, I have given you guys the answer directly, so you should be able to answer. 3GR8, we literally just discussed it. Who can answer this? Snehal Kashyap. Oh, mic is not working. Okay. So I'll come back to you for the next question. In the meantime, Bhavika Jain.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. 3GR8 answer. Yeah. Give
The
details.
eighth one or seventh one?
Eighth.
Okay, just a second, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm not sure, but I can try. It's the 24 characters material. I'm not sure, ma'am, about this one.
Like 15-20 minutes pehle discuss kiya. Yeah. So who else? Abhishek Trivedi. Can you answer this?
Ma'am, I don't know. I'm trying to solve it, but I don't know.
Vasudha, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, 24 karat of gold is considered to be pure gold, so it will have less strength considered to 22 karat gold, which has two parts of copper, which gives it strength and makes the urn stronger compared to 24 karat gold. Thus, it's used.
Absolutely. Wonderful. That's the right answer. Okay. So you guys got it? Bhavika and Abhishek? And anybody else who might have.
Yes, ma'am.
So 24 karat gold is pure gold. So we know that gold is extremely malleable. So it's not strong if it can be deformed easily. So 22 karat gold has some copper added to it. So as she said, 22 parts gold and 2 parts copper. So that imparts it a little bit of strength, which is why 22 karat gold is preferred. Okay. See, 11 and 12, very similar to the answer that we discussed. Then this also I gave you guys directly answer to it. Calcium starts.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it sticks to the bubbles of hydrogen gas.
Yes.
Ma'am, it sticks with hydrogen gas bubbles.
Correct. And nitric acid also we have discussed it yesterday. Why do we not get hydrogen gas?
Strong oxidizing agent.
Yes. So like if it's a strong oxidizing agent, what happens to the hydrogen gas?
It
forms
produces
with water.
H2O
It produces
Yes.
along with nitrogen oxides.
Except in the case of magnesium and manganese.
That is the reason the way it's worded also, it says generally. It's like not always, generally, most of the times. What happens when, like these are direct questions, metal reacts with water, you need to describe the fact that, you know, there's effervescence or bubbles of hydrogen and also give the reaction to it. Same with metals are burnt in air, give the equation, like, yeah, mention the product. What happens when zinc coating is done on iron articles? What happens when gold article is dipped in aqua regia solution? What is the answer to this?
And it dissolves immediately and forms a chloric acid.
Very nice. Yes, gold article dissolves. You can also note down the fact that, like iske liye I'm giving the answer. The solution turns red. Or you can say like, yeah, it's basically red only, not pink. Solution turns red.
Ma'am, what gas is liberated?
The gas liberated, it's a mixture of things, you know. So you get chlorine gas, you get something called nitrosyl chloride, that's NOCl2. So like these gases are liberated along with it, but the main thing is that the gold dissolves, and as the gold dissolves, because you're getting gold ions in it, the solution turns red in color. Like physical.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So physically what you see is that the gold is dissolving and the solution turns red. You can note this down. Chemically, what
Ma'am, does it have any use?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's used in the purification and cleaning. It's called leaching. So how many of you guys have seen the playlist that I shared yesterday? Yeah. Like, do you guys find it useful?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Cool. So I'll add the aqua regia wala this thing also to the playlist, so you guys have a visual of it. So aqua regia ka original color is it's kind of yellowish color. Think of really concentrated lemon juice or like really dark urine sort of thing. It's like a golden yellow kind of a color, And when you put gold in it, it starts, as the gold starts dissolving, it starts to turn red. I'll put a visual for this. Then what happens when metal reacts with acids, when iron is added to copper? All these are basically reactions. Couple of them are not, they're related to alloying and like other things, so you guys can answer it. Okay. Cool. And then we're starting off with level 1 questions. So your homework is do all the theory based, give reason and what happens when. You can skip the questions related to what do you call it, metallurgy. If you have a doubt, like you don't know the answer but you're not sure whether it's metallurgy or not, post the question on the group. I'll clarify it for you.
Ma'am, what is metallurgy means all the extraction of metals and everything, right?
Yes, that is right.
Okay.
So that's total of 27 plus 18, so that's 45 questions. Usme se at least between 1/3 to half you can ignore because they're related to like extraction part of it. And apart from that, do level 1 questions also, because majority of the level 1 questions are MCQs. You can see from question number 9 se leke 18 tak, all of them are MCQs. So yeah, finish off the first part up to what happens when, and also do level 1 questions. That'll be a good revision to the whole chapter. Like you'll get an idea what sort of questions you'll get from this chapter. And yeah, that's it. That is your homework for this week related to this chapter.
Ma'am, what's the deadline?
Before next class, as usual. You can take the weekend, you can do it by Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
So ma'am, we have to do until question number 18 of the first level.
No, do all of the questions in level 1.
Ma'am.